I, 34F, am sitting in what used to be our living room, and the silence is so loud it's almost buzzing. My life with Liam, 36M, lasted 12 years. We built a home and a business, but never got married. Each time I brought it up, he'd give me his polished speech. Ava, marriage is just a piece of paper, he'd say. It doesn't change what we have. Why do you need it? I try to believe him. But recently, it felt less like a philosophical stance and more like a personal rejection. Last week, I finally gave in and told him, "You're right. The paper doesn't matter." The relief on his face should have been my first clue. On Tuesday, while Liam was at a business dinner, I was cleaning our home office. His laptop bag was on the floor, and when I moved it, a small velvet ring box tumbled out. My heart did a stupid little flip. I opened it. Inside was a simple diamond ring. Tucked under the satin was the gift receipt, and on it, a handwritten note from the sales associate. For Jessica. Hope she loves it, Liam. Jessica, his 25-year-old secretary. The world tilted. Marriage is just a piece of paper. A piece of paper he was apparently more than willing to sign for someone else. The calm that washed over me was terrifying. It wasn't rage. It was clarity. I put the box back and waited. He came home around 11 p.m., humming. "We need to talk," I said, my voice even. "Everything all right?" he asked, his smile faltering. "I found a ring, Liam," I said. And the note. For Jessica. All the color drained from his face. He just stared, his mouth opening and closing like a fish. And then he just collapsed. He crumpled onto the expensive rug we bought together last year. I didn't scream. My first thought wasn't concern. It was, seriously? I called for an ambulance. The paramedics said it was a severe panic attack. At the hospital, with the beep of the heart monitor as our soundtrack, he confessed everything. He'd been seeing Jessica for 4 months. He was planning to leave me and had been setting up a new life. He cried about how he never meant to hurt me. I just listened. When he was done, I stood up. "They said you're fine to go home," I told him. "You can get a cab. I'm going home to pack your things. They'll be on the porch." "Ava, wait," he pleaded. "We can work through this." "No, Liam," I said, turning at the door. "You made your choice. You were right. Without that piece of paper, this is a whole lot simpler." I walked out. This is just the beginning. Update 1 week later. It's been a week of grim, methodical work. Liam came back that night to find his suitcases on the porch, just as I promised. His calls and texts went from begging to demanding. "Liam, you can't just throw me out. This is my house too. Liam, you're being cruel. After everything I've done for you? Here's the thing. The house? It's in my name. I bought it with inheritance money before he moved in. He paid half the bills, but his name was never on the deed. Another piece of paper he said didn't matter. The business, however, is our Gordian knot. We started a marketing firm together and incorporated it as a 50-50 partnership. I immediately hired a forensic accountant and a sharp corporate lawyer, Ms. Hayes. They found what I suspected. Liam had been using the company account for personal expenses for months. Dinners with Jessica, gifts, a weekend trip. It was all there. Ms. Hayes drafted a formal notice. I was invoking the dissolution clause in our partnership agreement, citing gross misconduct. The entitlement wave hit fast. Liam's sister, Qley, called me. "Ava, you need to stop this," she said. "You're going to destroy him. He had a breakdown because of you." "He had a panic attack because he got caught cheating, Qley," I replied. "He made a mistake, and now you're trying to take the business from him? He's the one who made it profitable," she screeched before I hung up. Then came the dirty trick. Liam called our biggest client, Mr. Sterling, and fed him a story about me having an emotional breakdown and trying to seize the company. He tried to sabotage the very asset we were fighting over. I immediately called Mr. Sterling back. "Mr. Sterling," I said calmly, "I understand Liam contacted you. What he failed to mention is that our professional separation is due to my discovery of his affair and significant financial misappropriation from our company. I have receipts. Your account is secure." There was a long pause. "Send the documentation over," he said. The final insult of the week was a letter from Liam's lawyer. They demanded I vacate my house, as it was the shared marital home, a legal term that doesn't apply to us, and that I owed him compensation for years of domestic partnership. He wanted me to pay him for the privilege of him living in my house while he cheated on me. The entitlement is breathtaking. He's about to learn that the quiet, accommodating woman he knew is gone. Final update, 4 months later. The war is over, and I won, not in a blaze of glory, but with the slow, grinding inevitability of consequences. Liam's attempt to poach our clients failed spectacularly. The clients I had nurtured for years saw his actions for what they were, desperate and unprofessional. They stayed with me. The fight over the business was the main event. Ms. Hayes was relentless. The forensic accountant uncovered even more theft, including cash withdrawals and disguised payments for Jessica's apartment. In mediation, Ms. Hayes laid out our case, dissolved the partnership. Based on his proven misconduct, I was entitled to a 70/30th split of the company's value. Liam would have to buy me out, or we'd sell. He argued. His sister Qley, there for moral support, called me a vindictive witch. The mediator, a no-nonsense retired judge, looked at the evidence and then at Liam. Son, he said, your position is compromised. I take the offer. He couldn't afford to buy me out. With his reputation and our small industry shredded, we sold the company. The sale went through last month. My 70% share was a very comfortable sum. His 30% was mostly consumed by legal fees and the debts he'd accrued. The issue over my house was dismissed after a single, sharp letter from Ms. Hayes, which included a copy of my deed and a warning against further harassment. We never heard about it again. The final, most fitting consequence was entirely of his own making. He moved in with Jessica. Their affair, all fun and games with secret dinners, suddenly became very real. He was broke, unemployed, and living in her tiny apartment. The colleague who told me said it lasted less than 2 months. Jessica didn't sign up for this and kicked him out. The last I heard, Liam is living with his sister. He's the guy who cheated, stole from his own company, and tried to screw over the partner who built it with him. He's a cautionary tale. There's no remorse, only bitterness that his plan didn't work. As for me, the stress was immense, but now there's peace. I kept the house. I'm taking a 6-month sabbatical to travel and see friends Liam never liked. I'm rediscovering the person I was before I made myself smaller to fit into his life. Liam was right. Marriage is just a piece of paper, but it represents a promise. He chose to break his. I just chose to hold him accountable. He wanted a life without the papers of commitment. He got it in every possible way. And that is a justice more satisfying than any revenge plot. It's just the natural consequence